Welcome, everybody. My name is Nat McCormick, and I am a designer here at McCormick Stevenson Corporation in Clearwater, Florida. I'd like to take a few minutes today to show you a little bit about family tables in Creo Parametric 3.0 and also how to display uh, components that have family tables on a drawing. So let's go in. I've made this kind of simple part to illustrate the problem. And so we've got a part here with a few holes and various dimensions. So we can create a family table, which in Creo, a family table is a configuration table, you can think of it as. So you can have instances which vary parameters or dimensions or things of that nature. So we'll add a few instances here, and in here you can give them names. We'll just call them A, B, and C. And then you pick the column button that I picked there, and then it brings you to this dialog box. So here's where you tell it whether you want to vary a dimension, a feature, a parameter, groups, pattern tables. You can do all types of things. So we'll just pick a few dimensions here. I think it's easy to envision how these things are applicable to other cases. So we'll do that. We'll add those. Let's also add some parameters. This brings up by default your part parameters, or if you were in an assembly, it would be your assembly parameters. Let's add maybe description. What else do we have here? Maybe finish. Let's insert those. So we can see that. It's kind of neat too that you can add pattern tables. So this table of holes here is done with a pattern. So let's add that one, and I'll show you kind of how that shakes out here. So if we say OK, takes us back to our family table. And if you look at this table, you can see now I have, for every instance, I can change these values. So let's make this 1.25. We'll make that 2.25, 3, whatever. So you can fill out all these values for the various configurations. Let's just insert some values here. Not sure if these will fail in the drawing, but we'll see. So here we can say A, B, C. So we're literally changing the description parameter across these various instances. And we can likewise change the finish parameter, and the table pattern here we can also change. Now, I didn't add other tables to that, so let's take a look at that real quick. If we look at the pattern, edit definition on that, you can see it's a table pattern that is varying some of the dimensions that locate the hole. So you can see right now the active table is table 1. If we edit that table, it comes up here and tells you what, the various dimensions in the different directions. So that's pretty easy to see. If you go to the Tables tab, you can see all of the tables that are currently in this pattern feature. So you can actually add another table and give it other dimensions here. So if we say, 1, 1, 2, 2. If we do something like that, let's save that. And now you can see table 2 comes up. You can change these names. You could change them to be A, B, and C. You can see that you can edit the various tables, and now you can change your active table here to be something else. So it's kind of a neat way to control that in a pattern feature. And like I said, you're actually able to change this. You're actually able to change this across the various family table instances, which can be very useful too. Yes, I got a dimension or a hole off the part there, but we won't worry about that. So now when I come into the pattern table, I can say this one's got A, this one's got B, that one's got A. An important thing to note is that if a family table, they come in by default with all stars. If it's a star, that means it's going to do whatever is in the generic, which once you have a family table defined, like we do now in this part, we can come here, and right now you're in what's called the generic, which is the component, the highest level component that contains the family table. These are referred to as instances here. So now you can see if we go to open this, it's going to ask us and prompt us, well, which one do you want to open? So you could open B, but of course now B you can see has various properties based on the table definition and the generic. You also could then add a table here in the instance, and those are referred to as nested tables. So you could kind of keep going with it. So if we come back here, it's important to note that you always want to edit the table in the generic. And it's good practice to not use the generic in the next assembly to create instances for every configuration that you would like. So this same family table can be used in an assembly to be able to vary components and things like that in an assembly, not just in a part. So now let's see what we can do and how we can use this family table on a drawing to actually fill out a bill of materials or something. So there is a way of using repeat regions in a table to spit all that information you defined in the family table into your repeat region. Now there's multiple ways to do this. You can use what's called a 2D repeat region that will by default spit in every single parameter value for every single instance name across a certain generic component. And while that's useful if you can control, you only have dimensions or whatnot in the table, that works great and it's very quick. But frequently what happens is you have things in the family table in the part that you don't want to display on the drawing in the table. Maybe you only want to show the dimension things on the table in the drawing. So let me show you how to do that. To do that, you have to kind of do a little bit of trickery with the repeat regions. So I'm just going to enter a 2x2 table here. So you go to the repeat region icon there. We're going to add a repeat region. We're going to add a simple repeat region. That's the 2D one I was talking about earlier. So there we just added one. You click one top corner, bottom corner. You can hit this switch symbols to see that now this rectangle inside that's going across those cells is the 2D repeat region, or the simple repeat region rather. So let's add another one. This is where the trickery comes in. We'll add a nested simple region inside the larger region there. So now we've got those repeat regions set up. So what this will translate to is instance names coming down here, and you can add as many columns as you need for the various parameters that you would like to display from the table. So here now we can pick model and pick the larger parent repeat region, and we'll select the generic. Make sure you put the generic in there. So now we have our model defined and put into our repeat region here. What we're going to want to do now is select and I'll switch the symbol so we can see what's going on. If you select the leftmost cell here in the parent region, you'll bring up the report symbol dialog box. So you're going to want to, in this column, we'll want family, instance, name. So it's going to spit in every family table instance name going down that column. So in the child region, I'll call it here, we're going to want to put family instance parameter value. So that's going to spit in values for all the parameters in this component. Now you can see what happens here is it spits in everything. Like it has, for the A instance, it's showing you every single parameter value in the A instance. And that's obviously not what we want. So the way that you refine this is you add what's called a filter to your repeat region there, to this child one. And I have the syntax for that saved out here, and I'll post this syntax in the comment section below or in the description section below. So you take this syntax, which is, just saying that for this column, I only want to display parameter values for parameters that are named something. So we'll change that Z to be what we want here. So let's close that. I'll save it, close it. Get out of there. So if we come back here and say filters, we can pick the repeat region. Again, we want the child region, not the parent, the column. So we're going to add one by rule, add a filter by rule. And you can say add, enter next filter, boom, paste that in, and let's make this column description. Enter, enter, done, done. And now it is only displaying the values for the parameter that is description. So that's really nice because now you can also type whatever you want up here at the top, at the headers for your columns here, which is really convenient. If you know anything about the 2D regions, it's going to want to always spit in whatever the actual name of your parameter is in the family table, which can be frustrating because you can't put spaces and things in the parameter names, and they frequently don't look good on drawings. So that lets you put whatever you'd like in there. So we also can name, if we look here, you can change these names, D13. Let's go in here and say, we'll edit this one and say, what is this? Properties, we'll change this to, we'll call that width. Regenerate. Now if you come in here, one of them is width. So that's convenient because if you come back to the drawing, we can add another column. And when you add a column to these, be sure to add it to the leftmost area right here, because you'll want, whoops. You can see it now, it leaves this open to where you can easily add another simple region. You just need to do it in the top cell and it will propagate it throughout the column there. So again, family, instance, param, value, boom. That's good. If you update the tables, it's going to blow up again because this column now does not have the filter that's in the other one. So if we go back to filters, let's just snag it from this one. Edit, take that, save, blow out. Now let's look at the filters of this one. We'll add one by rule, and instead of description, let's put in width. Done, done. Great. Now if we switch symbols back, now you can see we've got the width there. So it's obvious how this could be expanded to add as many columns as you wanted in this table, and it's highly configurable and editable. It's easy to change. You can change the width of this column to be different than the width of that column. So it adds a lot of user control to the way you display the information on your drawing, and still allows you to keep it all linked to the parameters in the part. So I hope that this video was helpful. I I think if you mess around with these repeat regions a little bit, you'll see some other applications for them, and maybe I can do a video on one of the 2D regions later. If you have a specific topic you'd like to see, please leave it in the comments or email me at nat.mccormick@mccst.com, and I'd be happy to do another video. Thanks.